Yeah, we thought it was funny to put the 6'6" monster in the back of the car that had no rear seats and then leave rubber on the road as we accelerated away from the lights.
Yep.
Ask the Hosts, episode 25. I'm Joe.
I'm Allan.
And I'm Martin.
Hello, chaps. The idea of this show is very simple. You send in your questions to us at show@askthehost.com and we answer them. The catch is they can be about anything except for Linux and open source. Before we get going, just a quick thank you to everyone who supports us with PayPal and Patreon. We really appreciate that. And if you support us on Patreon, you can get these episodes 2 weeks early. The first question then, from Adam. What would motivate you to take up a sport/hobby that you may consider yourself too old and unfit for? Has being interested in computers come at the expense of physical well-being? Which relates to a question that Andy asked, if you could be a top sports person, what sport would it be in?
So I think I need to seek clarity on the first part of this question. I've been told that I should be motivated to take up a sport or hobby that I've already been labelled either too old or too unfit to participate in.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, what would motivate you to do that?
What? Take up something that I'm disqualified from actually participating in?
Well, for example, I'm thinking about there's like fat guy football. So I am far too fat to play football, but there are specific groups of blokes who get together and they're all kind of fat and old and they play at a slower pace.
Okay.
So that's my answer, I think.
I used to play some sports at quite a high level when I was younger. And at that time, tennis was one of the sports that I excelled at. And on the club nights, you would have a mixed skill participation. So you'd have people like me who had an international ranking alongside octogenarians who were there for the gin and tonics after play had finished.
How does that work then?
You have to be very polite and careful when you're playing against the veterans of the sport, let's say. So, I always wondered sometimes if they were there actually to have fun or if they were just there for spite to ruin our evening. So I'm thinking that, I would choose spite, that if I'm too old or too unfit to participate in something, then I'm turning up to ruin somebody else's time.
Fair enough.
Thinking about it myself, it's like, well, too old isn't something I can really fix. Although unfit, theoretically, if the effort were put in, then that could be undone and then it would just be a sport or hobby. But what would motivate me, I don't know that it would be specific to, something I was told I was unfit for. Something that motivates me to get fit, it'd be maybe different, but I haven't found that one yet.
Yeah, same.
But specifically, the second part of the question, has being interested in computers come at the expense of my physical well-being? I don't think so. I've been interested for such a long time that it's hard to remember the time before, but no, if I wanted to get up off the computer and do stuff, I do. And so I don't think it really has to come at the cost or the expense of my well-being. I know that a lot of the experience and so on that I have from spending so much of my time on a computer, especially at a young age, I was, unintentionally skilling up at a bunch of very broad topics. And that was very formative, but I don't think it really came at the expense of my well-being, and I still make sure to get up and get my exercise and so on. So I definitely don't think that if you're interested in computers, you have to forego physical well-being. I don't think that's actually a trade-off that anyone is forced to make.
I'd agree with that, although I would say that I have fallen into a sedentary lifestyle because it's not just my work, it's the thing I'm most interested in. So when I have spare time, I do like to sit in front of the computer and work on things that are unrelated to whatever it is I might be working on professionally. And so I suppose I do need to get up and move around a bit more and get out for a good walk and lose some weight.
Well, it's definitely been detrimental to my health because in my previous career, I was much more active at work. Whereas now I sit in my ass talking to you lot or sit reading stuff or sit editing.
Yeah, you still go and walk for an hour or more every day. That's a big difference from what I think they're alluding to here.
Yeah, maybe. But I used to be a lot less fat, put it that way. What about Andy's question about if you could be a top sports person, what sport would it be in?
Darts.
Darts, exactly, darts, because you don't have to actually be that fit.
Yeah.
You've got to travel a lot, which would be a bit of a downer for me. But yeah, like you get rich if you're really good at darts, but not like football rich. You get like nice house rich.
You say that. Have you seen how much the prize funds are going up in darts over the last couple of years?
Yeah, and the sponsorships as well. I mean, you can make millions, don't get me wrong, but we're not talking like the mega rich footballers like Cristiano Ronaldo or whatever.
Yeah, but you don't have to be mega rich, right? I mean,
exactly.
I'm thinking, I want to channel my inner Jockey Wilson. I want to bring back the days where, a slightly portly gentleman with a pint in one hand can, be a world champion at a sport. I think that would be excellent.
Well, there's a young man called Luke Littler who is a slightly portly gentleman. He doesn't have a pint in one hand, but he's certainly winning a lot and representing us husky types. It's got to be hockey for you, surely, Allan.
It's the sport I'm most familiar with and played the most as a kid or whatever, but I don't have a burning interest in any particular sport, really. If I wanted to, I could go and do those things, but I don't choose to, so I don't know that I've got a good answer for that one.
Fair enough. All right. Maro SG asks, do you listen to your own podcasts? I know Joe does. Allan, you definitely don't. I know that much.
Definitely not on a regular basis. I've maybe consumed a total of 6 of the thousands of hours of podcasts that I've produced.
You've never listened to 2.5 Admins, have you?
I think a clip or two, but never a whole episode, no.
That is so bizarre to me. Like, don't you want to know how you come out of it?
I know everything that was said. I was there for the 2.5 hours of recording that goes into making 2 30-minute episodes.
Yeah, but don't you want to know how it turned out?
If I had more time to listen to podcasts, I'd want to listen to ones with other people's opinions and not hear my own opinion echoed back to me.
Fair enough.
I've listened to every podcast I've been on. And it's really because listening to yourself is excruciating. And if I find listening to myself excruciating, it must mean that other people do as well. And it's really a sort of a self-improvement loop of trying to sound less excruciatingly awful. So yeah, I listen to things purely to think about, what did I say in the moment? Like Linux Matters is entirely unscripted. So it's very much an off-the-cuff conversation. And listening back to things, I think, I've said the wrong word there several times, like because you're in the moment having a conversation with your friends rather than, reading from a script. And it helps to try and focus your mind as to where your common slip-ups are and how you can do it better next time.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, obviously I listen to everything that I edit and produce because I feel that you should do that. I've talked about that many times. It's kind of a quality control thing. But also, yeah, if I'm a guest on someone else's podcast, I'll always listen to it just to hear how I come across and how it was edited together. And, did they make me look stupid or whatever? Did they make any mistakes with it? I don't know. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, sometimes I find that, I feel when I've done a recording, it didn't go very well. And then when you hear it back, it's like, oh, actually, no, I didn't sound like a complete idiot. That was all right.
Yeah, and to Martin's point, I think I have watched the recording of almost every talk I've ever given in person, like at a conference or so on, for much the same reasons, to notice, you can't really tell in the moment how you're doing and how the audience is actually taking to it compared to watching it back later. And only once have I been, ooh, that did not go well.
Thankfully, all the talks I've not done very many, none of them have been recorded, so I don't have to suffer that indignity. But it would be useful to see how I did, rather than just taking people's word for it. Oh, yeah, you did great, Joe. Yeah. All right, Andy asks, what is the best time of day? The answer is dawn. Whether you've stayed up or got up, it doesn't matter. Dawn is the best time of day.
I was thinking about this and I thought early morning. So yeah, okay, that can segue into dawn. And I think the reason is that I see so few of them. There's still a lot of novelty around seeing early morning.
Yeah, I think my answer to this has also changed over time. In the past, I definitely would have said late at night is when I got all the best stuff done. But I think it partly has turned out to be the best time of day is when it's going to be quiet. And that can shift and depend on who else is around and even just the other people I'm working with, what time zone are they in? And the time when they're not around is often the best time because that's when I get to focus and get the most done without interruption. And so the best time of day is the time you can focus. And for each person and even at each point in their life, that can be a different time. And it's not that my answer has actually stayed the same over time.
Well, that kind of makes sense for me from a work point of view. That's why I tend to do most of my editing between about midnight and 5 a.m. because there's generally no one around. You lot over in North America are, having your dinner and relaxing and not working, and everyone in the UK and Europe is asleep. But I wouldn't say that's the best time. It's the best time to get work done, but that's what I consider work time. So really, it's when that's done, around 5 or 6, when the sun starts coming up. And that's kind of the end of the day for me. And especially when you've got a beautiful red sunrise, there's just something, I don't know if it's evolution or what, but like you look at those colors, or I look at those colors, and there's just something so profoundly beautiful about it. And I'm lucky that I get to see that quite a lot of the time these days. And, it used to be that I'd get up and kind of see that, whereas now I stay up and see that. And either way, it's just strikingly beautiful. A sunset is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but there's something about the dawn that is more beautiful than the sunrise that's more beautiful, to me at least.
Yeah. For me, it's not necessarily the work time is best. It's just that the time where I will not be disturbed, whether that's in my own thoughts or doing what I want or doing work. It's just whenever I can get the headspace that I want.
Well, yeah, it's like when I go walking in the middle of the night, if I'm not working at that time, yeah, it's great to just not be disturbed. And like you say, just think things through and either listen to musical podcasts or sometimes just nothing. And yeah, the calmness of that is very nice. But then as I get to the end of that walk and the sun starts to rise, that is the kind of best time of the best time. All right. Russell asks, what's your favorite sci-fi show?
I have 2.
Is that cheating?
Yeah, well, that's for you to decide. Am I allowed to, or do I have to plumb for one?
Well, tell us the 2, and then maybe we can decide.
I'll tell you what, I'll go with the one that I feel is right now my favourite, which is probably the less popular answer. So I really like the Andor series, the Star Wars spin-off that Disney have produced partway through season 2 of that at the moment as we record this. And it is, in my opinion, hands down, the best thing that, has ever come out of any of the Star Wars franchise. It's absolutely excellent writing. It is a brilliant story and I love it.
But you'll just watch anything related to Star Wars because you're just the right age for that.
I do watch all the Star Wars stuff, mostly out of a sense of completionist, but I don't like it all. But I do think Andor is excellent. Like, The Mandalorian's interesting, it's okay. Boba Fett is all right, bit average, bit mid, but Andor is properly excellent.
Whereas, Allan, you'll just watch anything related to Star Trek.
I think to the same point as Martin, not all of it is as good as some of it. But my favorite there definitely is Deep Space Nine, the social commentary and just the through lines and just the character development and so on that happens over the course of the series was very groundbreaking for the time, but even now stands up a lot to looking at a bunch of different parallels, whether it's like Paradise Lost and people taking advantage of a situation to try to seize power or whatever the different, every couple of episodes have some kind of stinging commentary in there. And, as I say, all those episodes of Star Trek are not about people in the future in spaceships. They're about us right now, just in a way that we can palate having it pointed out to us.
Yeah, and I would say that, Andor shares many of those qualities you've just described, particularly the Empire at the moment right now. It's very interesting.
Well, I like the original Star Trek, TOS. That is just like such a classic. And that's why I also like Strange New Worlds, because I feel like they've kind of taken the spirit of that and brought it into the modern era. And it's far better than the other main Star Trek one. I do like Lower Decks, but that's a bit silly. But I'm not going to be very popular for saying this. I actually think the Orville might be my favorite.
Oh, I really like that.
Yeah, after the first couple episodes when they got all the fart jokes out of their system, it got very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started to get proper social commentary and stuff, like The Next Generation almost. Like, it kind of took aspects of The Next Generation and a bit of the original series, and also injected a bit more humor into it.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first season they were warming up. From the second season onward, it was really good.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
So I don't know how to pick a favorite. It's like trying to pick a favorite between the original Terminator and Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is probably more fun to watch, but there would be no T2 without the original Terminator.
I prefer the original for being darker and just better in every possible way.
Yeah, and being the original as well, you know? And so that's kind of how I feel about Star Trek, but it is very kind of cheap and cheesy, some of it, the original, and it has sort of dated a little bit badly. I mean, it's been an awfully long time, so it's lasted and fared better than a lot of stuff of its era, but it does feel a bit dated. But then it's kind of the original space show, to me at least. I mean, I'm sure there was stuff in the 50s and whatnot before it, but it sort of set the mold for modern sci-fi. So in a sense, that's kind of my favorite. But then Next Generation was good as well. There's just too much of it to pick a favorite, but I'm just going to be controversial and say the Orville, I think.
I don't think that'll be that controversial if anybody's actually watched it.
It depends. Did you watch a couple of episodes and then nope out of it? Then you might be thinking, what the hell is he talking about?
Right.
But if you actually stuck with it, then maybe you'll agree with me.